Building muscle was really hard for me until I really understood progressive overload. And in this video, I want to make sure you don't make the same mistake I did. So, firstly, what's progressive overload? Progressive overload is basically just the concept of training and over weeks and weeks and weeks becoming stronger, slightly stronger, adding some reps, adding some weights. And that's one of the most important concepts when it comes to building muscle. The mindset that I used to have when I first started training was that progressive overload was only really important for powerlifting. That if I want to get big, if I want to become more muscular, if I want to grow bigger biceps, bigger shoulders, I just need to stimulate my muscle, just train, and the muscle will grow. I don't need to get stronger to grow muscle. But that's completely wrong. Of course, powerlifting and bodybuilding aren't the same sport, and there are some concepts that apply to powerlifting that don't really apply in the same way to bodybuilding. But progressive overload is still super, super important, even if your goal is only just to build muscle. That's and I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand it. Progressive overload doesn't really build muscle, but it shows you that you're currently building muscle. If you're currently able to actually add some reps, add some weight to the exercise that you regularly perform, that means you're probably building muscle. That means you're probably getting bigger. But if you aren't, that's a sign that you're probably doing something wrong and that you need to change something. Especially if you're a beginner, you should be progressing every single week, even as an intermediate. Every week, you should be adding some reps, adding some weight, at least aiming to do so. And that was the big mistake that I made. It wasn't that I was necessarily, my sleep was bad or that I wasn't eating enough or that I wasn't training hard enough. It was simply that I wasn't even intentionally trying to progress. I wasn't even intentionally trying to get stronger. That's why I wasn't progressing for months and months and months and months because I didn't even have the intention to progress in the first place. So something I did that really helped me is firstly I started tracking my workouts. I started simply writing down the reps, weights that I use for every single exercises. So that the next time I was performing the same session, I could see what I did last session, and aim to do better. Aim to either add one rep or maybe add some weights. And then I use double progression. Double progression is basically having a rep range. For example, the 6 to 10 rep range. So you start with 6 reps. And when you reach 10 reps, for example, after a few weeks of progressing, you basically just add some weights so that you can go back to 6 reps. For example, let me take you an example in my training today. Today I trained legs. And the first exercise that I did was the Smith machine squat. Basically, just a basic Smith machine squat. Today, last week, on the first set, I had used 55 kilograms for 7 reps. So that was the top end of my rep range. My rep range on the Smith machine squat is 5 to 7. So I've done 7 reps last session. So this session today, I added 5 kilograms. So I went from 55 to 60 kilograms. And I did 60 kilograms for 5 reps. So I went down again in my rep range. And let me take you another example for you. Sissy squat, a really difficult exercise, like a really difficult bodyweight exercise. My rep range on the sissy squat is 5 to 7 again. Last week, I had done 7 reps on the first set, 7 reps on the sissy squat. This week, I just grabbed a kettlebell, or a 6 kilogram kettlebell, held it with my right hand, and held kind of a pole on with my left hand for support. I did this squat like that with an extra 6 kilograms. So even on bodyweight exercises, it's actually can be very effective to add some weight. For example, next week when I'm gonna do pull-ups for back on my back day next week, I'm gonna add 10 kilograms to my pull-ups because yesterday, I reached the top end of my rep range on pull-ups. I did 10 reps. So now I add 10 kilograms so I can go back to 6 reps because the rep range on the pull-up for me is 6 to 10. So you kind of see the trend. You don't have to have like the same rep range for every exercise. I wouldn't even recommend you to. It's good to have some variation, and some exercises are really just better to do higher reps, and so some exercises are better to just do lower reps of. For example, an exercise like the squat, it's an exercise that I wouldn't necessarily recommend you do really, really like crazy high reps on the squat because then you're more likely to fail because of your cardio and because your muscle, your legs, your quads failed. But there's certain exercises for me, like for example, for me, on the seated leg curl, I actually do use the 12 to 16 rep range. So it's a fairly high rep range. But I just noticed that for me, when I'm doing low reps on the seated leg curl, the mind muscle connection is pretty bad. I don't really like the exercise I'm doing really, really low reps. The mind muscle connection isn't really that good. It just feels weird. That's why I decided to to do fairly high reps on the seated leg curl. But on other exercises, like for example, the Romanian deadlift, stiff-legged deadlift, I use the 5 to 7 rep range again, because I've noticed that if I try to do really high reps, for example, my spinal rectors and my lower back fail way before my hamstrings do. That's why I prefer to do lower reps, because when I'm doing lower reps, I actually feel like my hamstrings are the one that end up failing, or actually come close, at least come close to failure when I'm performing the exercise. So you have to, I would recommend you use different rep ranges for different exercises, because some exercises require higher reps, some exercises are actually better when you do lower reps of them. But use the double progression. Is really, really effective. You could just progress with reps or just with weights, but double progression makes it very standardized and consistent over a long run. You could also just add reps, for example, of certain bodyweight exercises. It like at the start I actually planned to just add reps on the CC squat, but today I didn't really feel like it. I just said, okay, try to at least add some weight in some way, because for a long time I didn't really believe that I could even add some weights on the sissy squat. I kind of touched myself, how am I even supposed to add weights on the sissy squat? If you don't know what a sissy squat is, the sissy squat is basically where you just stand there, you hold something for balance, you push your hips forward, and then you push your knees forward and down, and your heels kind of get off the ground, and you lean back with your torso. That's what the sissy squat looks like. I could show you right now, but I don't really feel like it, to be honest. I don't really have something to where I could kind of hold onto. Or let me just show you. You know what? My legs are kind of fried today, but let me just show you what it looks like. I'll just hold this. I already trained legs today, so my legs are really, really fried. Hold this like this. Push hips forward. And then like that. And what I did today, I just held basically some weights. Let's just say these are weights. I held like a 6 kilogram kettlebell. Let's just say this is a kettlebell. Held it like this with my left and my right hand. I just performed the exercise like this. Yeah. So that's basically a sissy squat. It was very difficult, but I just found a way to actually add some weight to it, because it's better to just adding reps. At some point, you reach a certain level. I don't really like this. Like I used to do this when I was training at home. Just add reps. I would never add weights, because I couldn't even add weights, and it was very difficult. I've noticed with certain exercises, I'm already out of breath by just doing 2 sissy squats. But on certain exercises, I would reach kind of a plateau if I just try to add reps. For example, for me, the pull-ups or dips. If I just add reps to pull-ups and dips, at some point I hit a plateau. But if I add reps and then weights, I can keep progressing when it comes to my strength. If I add some reps and I reach at the top end of my rep range and then add some weight, I found that to be way more effective for me, actually. So yeah. Hope you found this video valuable. Hope you don't make the same mistake I did. If you want to book a free coaching call with me, like a completely free coaching call where you can ask me some questions and I can help you with your training, nutrition, all those things, so that you can build the physical of your dreams, just click the first link in the description. It's completely free. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, then just ask me some questions there. Just click the second link in the description. Don't run away from discomfort. Chase it.